Designer's Way.
Welcome to Designers Way Christian Church. These videos are our reactions from the R4R series, Marriage, Sex, and Relationships. Basically, Pastor Ron gets down to the nitty-gritty and tells us all of that we need to know what the Bible says about all of the three areas, marriage, sex, and relationships. The following videos are real members, real reactions, and they are really giving you, exactly how they feel about the message. So I hope that you enjoy. We'll see you next week for the R4R series. Pastor Ron, this has talked about sex, marriage, and relationships. So first, what is your initial reaction to the series so far?
Well, I was in the nursery when the series first started, and I actually covered my face at one point when he verbalized from the pulpit, a part of what he was talking about for married people. He said, there's not an excuse when life hits you and you feel like you're tired and you don't have time for your spouse or your mate. And he actually went there, and I was like, oh my goodness. But I appreciated that because those are things that I've never heard before verbalized, especially, from a pastor, a man of God that is supposed to, guide you spiritually. But growing up for me, I didn't grow up in a household that was saved. So a lot of this stuff, if it could have been told to me prior to, one, being saved, two, before I got married, I definitely think could have saved a lot of heartache for myself and my husband. Hard work that is required in it. Marriage is a beautiful thing, I will tell anybody, but it is work. It is work to deny yourself. It is work for you to heal those parts of your own personality. For me, I'm from the islands, and, culturally speaking, I've had to die in so many places. So the things that he was saying, especially today, that talked about, the Waterford crystal being encased in the steel, there are still areas of me that my husband has to be patient with me because that steel casing is still being chipped away slowly. And I thank God for the fact that he gave me somebody that is patient with me, because anybody else would not be able to deal with my personality. And I was one of those people he talked about today, as far as, being you raise yourself to care for yourself, provide for yourself. And, I had a mentality before that no matter what happened when I got married, I would always be able to take care of myself in spite of. And I don't have to do that.
So speaking of INDEP, so how do you guys feel as single women, as a single teenager? It's still good for you to know. So you can, like you said, put that in your file, take it back so you can know what to do when you're in that relationship. How do you think that this is affecting you?
Well, as a single mom who grew up in a household with no father, I grew up with a single mother. I think the word for crystal wrapped in steel was like perfect. Like I want to put it on a t-shirt just for me because I'm very hard on myself. I have high expectations for myself just because I never want to fail. And I am the provider. I am the protector. I care for myself. And I have two sons who, raising them in the society we live in, it calls for so many things. So I don't have time to be sensitive or vulnerable or show characteristics of weakness. Plus, I'm a leader in my job, so I never get a chance to be that soft, delicate crystal, like ever. Yeah. And then when I meet a guy, and I was just riding in my car thinking about, what is my motive for wanting a husband? Like, that question came to me, and I was like, well, I have several motives, but I guess to be protected, provided for, and cared for, those three things resonated with me today, because that's what I want from the person that's going to be my husband and my mate. But it's so hard to find that because of the way I am. Right. I don't take anything from any person, and I know I'm listening to her oh my gosh, you do have to die to yourself, but the only being that I'm willing to do that for is God, because I know no matter what I do or my harshness or abrasiveness or assertiveness, he doesn't judge me by that. He's going to love me anyway. Right. And I guess I have to work on what she's saying. I am going to get a husband. And the older I get, it's just I really desire to be married. it sucks being single, but you know, there are good things about it. You know, I guess, I don't know. I feel confused sometimes because when I see failed marriages, is like, I don't want to get married because I'm not going through that. I would never put up with the cheating or the abuse or all the other bad things that I see in people's marriages. But then when I see a good marriage, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I really want to be married. So when you're single, it's very confusing. But I think I'm going to take, what's your name again?
Tricia.
Tricia, what you said about the dying to yourself, like literally and figuratively, because that's something that's very hard for me to do. I don't ever yield. I'm very unyielding with people. With God, I'm very sensitive. With children, I am. But with adults, it's like, no. If they do anything to offend me, because it's really that you're hurt. It's not that you're angry. It's that you're hurt because you desire that peace, you do desire happiness, but when other people do something to make you retreat back behind that steel, it's like a wrap, like it's over, and then you don't, it takes twice the amount of time to come back out a little bit. So this sermon was awesome, and your words are going to stay with me as well.
Right, we just have a few more minutes, so what would you say to someone who hasn't heard this? What encouraging words would you give them so they can come? Jewel or Tony?
I think it's a really good series because it's real. It's hitting the core of what people really need to hear. A lot of times in the world, it's real out there. So why are we buttering up a lot of things that we have to deal with in life in church? We should be getting everything in church, all the mentoring for everything that we have to deal with in life. So it's a real series, and it's something that's definitely necessary for us to hear, especially as single people, because we need to prepare ourselves for when we want to get married. And it's good, like even as he was saying today, judge yourself, look at yourself, analyze yourself, and then go on and do something about it. Change so you can be prepared for when you get married to be that person. So I feel like it's definitely necessary to hear these things. The realness, just uncut, you know, it's good.
Yeah.